But listen, folks, again, this is not a topic. This is an update because, of course, I said I was going to keep you fine folks updated with the happenings with 343 Industries. So let me just break out the information. Now, as you remember, yesterday on the Xbox lunch break special, I specifically had a breaking news segment where it was reported by WCCF Tech that their sources, and again, it's not inside 343, it is an insider, quote unquote, named the Bathrobed Spartan. Apparently, he is a Halo insider. He has a phenomenal track record, from what I understand. Reported that he has heard that 343 is being taken away from driving the vehicle any further, and that they're going to be there, and they're going to add input, but they're not going to be in charge like they currently are now. There was talk potentially of another studio taking over the Halo franchise. Now, I have two quotes here, and the first one comes away from Rebs Gaming. Now, Rebs Gaming is a Halo dude. Who is Rebs Gaming? Well, Rebs Gaming is a gaming news reporter and content creator, reporting exclusive and breaking news for Xbox and Halo. So he responded yesterday to this, and he says, I had spoken to Jez Corden regarding 343's industry in doing pre-production and production for new Halo games. The recent rumor says 343 Industries is only doing pre-production and outsourcing on all production work to external studios, but Jez says this is completely false. So, of course, Jez Corden, being the man of the hour, has responded to it. Now, he says very cheekily, checked into the latest Xbox rumor going around that 343i isn't going to develop Halo games and instead only oversee them. False AF, in case you believed it. Now, look, I believe Jez. If this is what Jez is saying, I believe what he's putting out there. What I understand from behind the scenes is that there is current turmoil and has been for many, many years. The fact that we do not have a single-player, story-driven Halo after Infinite, nearly 4 years later, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand how there's no DLC for this. It was canceled. I have no idea how we have no closing of the story for Locke, for Team Osiris, for any of the mission logs that you picked up where there were story beats in there. We got none of that. And guess what? We're never going to get it. That's a big problem. I don't understand, folks. And again, if you want to throw the virtual tomatoes at me for being a fanboy of Master Chief and Halo, that's fine. I'll take them. I'll stand there, chin forward, and just take all the virtual tomatoes. It's perfectly fine. My issue is that I'm a fan of Halo. My issue is that I feel underwhelmed with what 343 has been able to deliver outside of multiplayer. Like I said, multiplayer, tip of the spear. Some of the best multiplayer for Halo I have played since 3. Okay, there's a reason why I have nearly 23 days in Halo Infinite. And if you want a comparison of where that 23 days comes from, over 3 days in the single player. Because after I beat the game, I ran through it again, and I tried to find all the logs, and I'm still missing like 3. I put over 3 days of the single player and would put another 3 if there was additional content. There's nothing. But the other 20 days come the way of multiplayer. I love it. So that's the update. According to Jez, it is false. But again, based on some things that I have heard that are public, there's no surprise, no breaking news here. It's just not great at 343. And I don't know how long Microsoft is going to allow the face of Xbox to be treated like the redheaded stepchild. I don't get it, Jamie Moran. I know this is not a topic, but is it time for someone to take the mantle that's not 343?
I think it's a weird situation, man, because like, I love Halo, but I mainly play single player games. So for me, Halo is a single player game. And for Halo, you have to kind of realize that Halo single player is essentially we're getting something new every 4 to 5 years. And the only difference with Infinite is that we all thought we were going to see more content via DLC, and it just didn't happen. The way the story ends, it kind of felt like there's a bunch of games that essentially finish that end on DLC. Not saying that's a good way to do things, it's just the way some games do it. But like the problem is when we promise these games that last 10 years, 9 years, 5 years, whatever, you expect content. You know, multiplayer's gotten better over time to the point where everyone thinks Infinite is in a great place for multiplayer and the live service element. But if you're a single player gamer like me, um, I've had no new content in 3 years. So that's a problem, especially when you thought you were going to get content. And it's like, Halo Infinite was, I loved the single player. I thought it was a great campaign. It was a different structure. And honestly, I think that companies selling a 6 to 10 hour linear first person shooter won't work in the modern age. You know, with the prices of games gone up, all that stuff, like people just won't see the value there. So they went open world, and I think it worked for them. But the problem is that Halo's had this like negative backlash every single time they do something. You know, the game comes out, people like the campaign, the multiplayer didn't have enough content. 343 got to work, they end up making a bunch more content. They pulled back on the single player stuff to sort out the live service stuff. And the money is in live service. You know, it's not like back in the day with like Halo 4 when they were selling like 14 million copies out into the gate. Like it, Halo's basically a live service game now with a campaign slapped on. Not doing a disservice to the campaign, that is. But like 343, they clearly know what they're doing. They just need time. Like they've proven they can do multiplayer well. They've proven that they're doing campaign well because, like you said, Boom, you didn't like Halo 5. Personally, I loved Halo 4. I think Halo 4 is a fantastic game. Halo 5 had its issues, but Halo Infinite, they stuck it together. Even though the multiplayer didn't have much content, they're there now. So all they have to do really is get out a good campaign while doing live service content. And if they continue with Halo Infinite as the multiplayer, I don't necessarily see why we have to wait another 5 years to get a brand new Halo game that consists of a campaign and multiplayer. Like they've got multiplayer sorted, so I think like Halo could be turned around really quickly, compared to like doing a full game with co-op and multiplayer. I don't think 343 should be taken away from the franchise like main stage. I think they clearly know what they're doing now. It took them a few games to get there, and they'll get there eventually. It's just I think Microsoft is very reactionary, and I think that maybe, and if any of this is true, and like you said, Jez doesn't think it's happening. I think Microsoft, they really need to just let 343 do their thing because 343's always had this problem where they had this vision to make a game and they've always pulled back because the fans have complained about something. Like, remember back in 2012,
Yeah.
people were livid, absolutely livid, like the sky was falling because of Sprint. Because of
Yeah.
Sprint. And
Ridiculous.
yeah, and by the way, to call out all those people that freaked out about Sprint, Master Chief used to run in cutscenes in Halo 1 and 2 and
Yes.
3. And
Yeah.
like he can climb into a scorpion tank but can't climb ledges, but people have a problem with that. We're meant to be playing as this superhuman in power armor, and you're telling me I can only walk a brisk pace? That's not believable. Like we play in Halo, not RoboCop, and like 343, they have a vision. I want 343 honestly to just make the game they want. Stop listening to fans. Stop listening to people arguing online constantly. Because remember, Halo 4 had its very own style. Halo 5, whether people liked it or not, had its very own style. Halo Infinite is essentially Halo Combat Evolved but new, right?
Yes.
Right, and people love that, but I don't want I don't want 343 to just keep pulling at member berries, right? I want a new Halo game that does new things. I don't want to walk on a Halo ring covered in grass and trees for the millionth time. I've done that for 20 years. Right? I want 343 to make the game they want. Stop listening to fans. Just cater to your multiplayer fan base, by giving them more content and make a campaign they want. 343 know what they're doing. They just need time and a vision, really.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to have to agree with a lot of that, just to point out the fact that, like, I agree that once they stuck to what they were trying to do story wise, we got Halo 4. And Halo 4 story to me was really damn good.
It was excellent. Yeah.
And
100%.
we saw a more human side of the Chief we never saw before. More emotion. We saw an emotional story broke down between him and Cortana that, honestly, I think only Bungie maybe nailed in Halo 3, maybe, I would say.
Yeah, I would say 3 is where they really stuck the landing with the relationship with Cortana.
And it's not to say that they didn't grow from 1 through 3 with them, but I think 4 gave us a more human Chief where we're more used to this stoic, robotic version of him, and they broke it down well and saying, like, hey, he just saw himself as this automaton essentially, and she brought him more back to his human side, which is funny with her being technology, but I mean, she's a bit more than technology, but you get what I mean. And I thought that was really well done. That said, I do agree also that sticking to their vision for the story, being cautious, of course, with the lore. You don't want to just be willy-nilly about it, because fans will get up on them about that.
Of course.
But like having it where they actually follow the multiplayer, keep that within the bounds of what the fans expect. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And with the story, experiment and do what they need to do as far as what they want to do. So long as they, they keep that triangle of gameplay that we love and tell the story that needs to be told. And I think the fans, in a way, have held back Halo from being the best it could be in some ways. I think we've helped it too when it comes to the multiplayer portion, to be fair, but I think it's hindered the story as well when it comes to that, because Halo 4 was right, and people complained so much of overall of Halo 4 that 343 I think got spooked, and that's what we got 5. And 5 had so many different issues because,
my God, 5 was just a disaster.
And
I'm sorry.
And the marketing was so spectacular for 5.
Dude, it was great. Did anyone listen to those audio tapes?
I love them.
Like, I love that, dude. Like, I listened to it, each one of them, like 3 times. The podcast
spectacular
thing.
And it really set up a story and a narrative where we thought, man, it's about to get deep. We're about to find out about Oni, all these like dark secrets, and Chief is going to be hunted by Locke and all of this, and that's not really what we got in 5. And I know there's other issues that probably forced them out of that, but 5 was just a failure in the story wise. It's funny, and not funny, but it's funny because 4 succeeded in the story, 5 failed, and where 4 failed in multiplayer, 5 excelled. So it's very odd, and I think Halo Infinite got that balance just right. But the problem is they just didn't have content to keep going for it. So that's the thing. So I do agree with Jamie there in that 343 just needs time, an actual solid budget, which we know they're going to get anyway.
Yes,
Halo, right? But they need time and a proper management, which I think they have in place now with Pierre, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they'll do. So I'm not on the train of get rid of 343. I'm not on that. Although I do understand people who have had their fill of them. I get it, but I think they've turned in some good work, and I think that they can turn in even better work given the proper time they need. And the beautiful part with Xbox having so many studios as we've all talked about, and games coming out that we've seen their roadmap, they have plenty of time to allow 343 to work their magic. That's the most exciting part about it for me. Give them time and don't rush out something,
I agree.
Maybe the next Halo can come at the launch of the next console. Give them the time.